You know that feeling. It hits you when the loading bar freezes at 99%, or when you've been on hold for 3 minutes but it feels like 30, listening to the worst flute music ever recorded. That primal, burning agitation you feel when you're forced to pause. You start pacing. You check the clock exactly 5 times in the space of 1 minute. Your jaw clenches. The amount of frustration you feel is completely out of proportion to the actual amount of time passing. It's infuriating, and if you've ever wondered why the simple act of waiting makes you feel like you're failing at life, you're about to get the truth. This isn't about being impatient, and it's definitely not about being rude. This is about deep, fundamental behavioral science. Let's talk about the true psychology of waiting, why we hate it so much, and how to hack your brain to actually relax while the rest of the world buffers. For a long time, we were taught that hating waiting was a character flaw, a sign of entitlement in our fast-paced culture. But behavioral scientists have proven that the anxiety and annoyance you feel isn't personal. It's biological. It all comes down to 3 massive factors that your brain is constantly calculating. The first factor is agency, and it's the most toxic type of waiting: uncertainty. We don't hate waiting when we know exactly how long it will take. We hate waiting when we have absolutely zero control over the situation or the duration. Think about sitting in traffic versus waiting for test results. Traffic is annoying, but you usually have an estimate. You know the distance. You can look at Waze. Waiting for test results or standing at a closed bank counter is a black hole. Your brain cannot calculate the endpoint, and that lack of agency triggers a profound stress response. When you feel powerless, your brain registers the situation as inherently dangerous or threatening because you cannot exert influence to fix it. This is why automated customer service that tells you your wait time is approximately 4 minutes is infinitely less stressful than the one that says you are next in line and then leaves you hanging for 10. Factor 2 is all about time perception. Here's the crazy part. Unoccupied time feels longer than occupied time, and even wilder. Pre-process waiting feels longer than in-process waiting. Let's break that down with the classic example of standing in line at the airport security check. The line moves slowly, but once you're actively putting your bags in the trays, taking off your shoes, and walking through the scanner, the process itself, the anxiety decreases and the perceived time shrinks dramatically. Your brain is focusing on a defined series of tasks, not just the passage of time. If you stand there doing nothing, your brain starts counting every second, exaggerating the elapsed time, almost as a way to punish you for the perceived inactivity. You are literally wasting time, and your brain is programmed to value efficiency above all else. Which leads us directly to factor 3, the dopamine prediction error. Waiting is the ultimate prediction failure. Whenever you anticipate something positive, your coffee, your rideshare arriving, the movie starting, your brain releases a tiny squirt of dopamine in anticipation. This is the reward pathway lighting up. Waiting means the predicted reward hasn't arrived on schedule. If the anticipated pleasure is delayed, the dopamine hit is postponed, and your brain registers this delay as a deficit. It's not just impatience, it's a biochemical frustration that the reward loop has been interrupted. We are seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, and waiting, psychologically, is pain. So if the deep psychology of waiting is wired into us, how do we hack it? You don't have to rewire your entire nervous system. You just need to manipulate your perception of time and control. First, implement the value replacement hack. When you know you are going to wait, say in a doctor's office or commuting, do not just pull out your phone to scroll social media. That's low-value passive occupation. Instead, designate that time for one specific, high-value task that you otherwise avoid. Use the 15-minute wait to organize your calendar, delete old emails, or genuinely meditate. By defining the waiting period as dedicated time for a specific, productive purpose, you convert wasted time into scheduled productivity. You shift the narrative from "I am powerless" to "I am optimizing this moment." This significantly lowers the stress associated with factor 2, unoccupied time. Second, use the estimate injection hack. If you are stuck in a situation where the estimate is vague, like a software update or a repair, actively seek to create a rough estimate yourself, even if it's wrong. If you're waiting for a delayed flight, don't just sit. Ask the agent, based on the average turnaround time, what is the earliest realistic time we might board? Injecting a number, any number, into the vacuum of uncertainty restores some semblance of control, fulfilling that deep need for agency that waiting strips away. The science shows that people prefer a 10-minute confirmed wait to an unconfirmed 5-minute wait. Finally, embrace the distraction quality hack. We often choose the wrong distractions. When faced with an uncertain wait, choose a distraction that is intensely absorbing and requires deep focus, such as a complicated game or reading an engaging novel. Shallow distractions, like scrolling Twitter, leave enough cognitive space open for your brain to keep track of the clock, intensifying the feeling of wasted time. A deep distraction pulls your brain completely into a new timeline, fulfilling factor 3 by giving it a micro-reward while the main reward is pending. Look, the next time you feel that irritation boiling up because the video is still buffering, remind yourself, you are not failing at being patient. You're just a highly evolved human brain that hates losing control and wasting precious resources. Understanding that is half the battle. Now you have the tools to trick your brain into using that time instead of just losing it. Give these hacks a try and let me know in the comments which waiting hack works best for turning your anxiety into actual productivity. Subscribe for more deep dives into your own fascinating mind.